Daughter of the Bright Moon is a 1979 novel by Lynn Abbey, and it is her debut novel, actually, and first sort of in a trilogy. So it is a fantasy story pretty heavily based on the sword and sorcery side of things. That was pretty common at the time, though it is not one of the more well-known sword and sorcery stories, I'd say. I talked to a lot of sword and sorcery people, and I don't think I've ever seen this mentioned before. So, Rifkind is the last of her nomadic tribe. Story opens with her looking upon their ruin, immolated by some enemy unknown to her. Though small, even for an Ashiran, she had left her family for years to train as a warrior, and her society accepted her for this, even though the other women are only used to be married off. Muroa was her sagacious trainer, another woman. Now, what is she to do? So her crippled father and foppish brother are corpses. She is left alone with her steed Turin, the dog scavenging the carnage. What's interesting is that while a capable warrior, she saw the destruction coming and fled from it alone, since her father would not listen to reason. Does this make her a coward? In many a heroic fantasy book it would, and I think it was rather a difficult but intelligent decision here. But yeesh, it's a rather gruesome opening, to be completely honest. In the first few pages, Rifkind cuts open a body looking for a ruby that was swallowed, and there doesn't seem to be anything stereotypically womanly or feminine about Rifkind really much at all. She has much anger, much bite, and I guess not really much of the stereotypical feminine emotions and stuff tied to her. Will Rifkind turn to revenge, though, or destiny? And from the dry steppe of her people, to where will she go? So, and what is a light storm, actually? Because there's light storms here, and that's a little confusing to me. But we do learn about divination by moonstones. We get lots of talk of the moon in general, moonrise, moonset, the bright one, magical projections of light. Turin himself, though, it's not that related, but is a horse with horns, and is empathetic, and so rather intelligent as well for a horse. The horn part is just cool, I guess. Not like a unicorn, like two horns. So really well done, I think, for Rifkind to experience the wetlands and civilization quite different than what she is used to. Not just the environment, but the different people as well. Ones that don't trust people that they think are spies or Ashirin, let alone healers of the Ashira, which they would call witches. Instead of the narrator telling us of Rifkind's thoughts in third person, we get them from Rifkind herself in first person, with single quotes and double reserved for dialogue. It's an interesting choice. I think it works okay. Ezjord is one character that comes into play, a good foil, I think, to the stern Rifkind. There's also the girl Lynette, who is a sort of thing to protect a sense of purpose that is not natural to Rifkind, though also someone that has an arc that is very different than I was expecting. My first thought is it's someone there to protect, but very, very interesting arc for the character Lynette. Also, we have Ansoran, who is a sort of enemy, a sorcerer. We do have the idea that empathy is not magic, actually, to the Ashira, though it is considered magic by others. The healing arts are not, also for death dealing, but they are connected, as Tal, as this life force, seems particular to each individual, is, of course, connected to life and death. There are two moons as well, and there's the bright one and the dark one, known as Vidavar. And while the book itself is a little plotless, it finds some sense of one a little ways in. It's not strong. I found this fine in this case. I think Rifkind's experiences with very different people, but also with her experiences with and herself, essentially, though she knows in some capacity and whatnot, to be very enlightening. I think Abby does a good job showing that not is everything as it would seem, or to be expected sometimes. The pacing is a little funky, maybe as I'd expect, or is more common in debut novels. I found the world building done well, though, and not done in any exposition, but just as what was needed for the story. We have the worship and machinations of a few deities, cult members, and how the Bright One put the moon on Rifkind's cheek, and also apologies of Drodaria, particularly about the king, queen, and sorcerer, and Lord Humphrey himself. Rifkind never worries about her beauty, which doesn't feel, it's really like not a thing at all. It really never comes up. It's not purposely ignored, really, not helplessly. She's not helplessly beautiful. It just doesn't seem to matter, really, to Rifkind, which, considering it's sword and sorcery, I guess that tracks. It does seem more typical in the women authors to treat heroines this way as well, though. Rifkind is not really a kind person, though, funnily, spinning play off her name. But she's not cruel either. Abby has a squirrely style to her writing, and I'd say she was likely influenced by some Native American themes for the Ashira here, maybe some steppe peoples as well over in Asia or something. There was some nice artwork throughout, actually, by Steve Fabian. Very 70s looking, kind of psychedelic. Highly enjoyed it. The last picture on the screen there was one from the very opening of the book. While not my favorite Abbey, it's really not bad. I enjoyed it. I thought it. I kind of enjoyed it as much as I thought it would be. I was a little scared, and it was pretty fun actually throughout. Again, it's not like peak Abbey, but it's still fine. Interestingly, so there are 2 sequels to this. One, Black Flame, I believe, came out shortly after this first book, but this third one came out several years later, about 20 years later, in the early aughts. And something else I found out, actually, as I was preparing this review, as I read this a couple months ago, there is actually another novel, not by Lynn Abbey, set in this world. It is called Warhorn by Dana Kramer. I believe it came out in the late 80s, so a few years after the second book. And honestly, it doesn't look like it's probably really easy to get a hold of. I want to see if I can get a hold of it, though, because I don't even know who Dana Kramer is, but considering it is connected to Lynn Abbey, that is definitely something I would like to try if I get my hands on it. So I don't know. It might be like it might not even be a novel. It might be like more of like a choose your own adventure for all I know. I really don't know what it is. So anyways, I'm interested though. So Lean from Liam's Lyceum. I will catch you next time.